Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming on the Zoom tonight. We're going to talk about coaching triads, and I want to give you some information and then give everybody a chance to ask questions. And then at the end, I'll remind you this at the end, but after we go through a framework that I put together, um, like this is just a framework. You are all responsible adults and coaches. And if you decide that you want to set up your coaching triad in a different way with a different framework, then that is totally up to you. This is just an orientation to give you some ideas and suggestions. And I'm going to send out an email after this Zoom. And I'm going to ask you just a few questions. I'm going to ask you your why, just briefly. I'm going to ask you how long you've been coaching, if you have a credential, what it is. And I think that's it. What I try to do is not put together people maybe who are at the very beginning of their coaching journey and mix the groups up so that there's someone maybe who's been coaching for 10 years and 5 years and 1 year. There are 9 of us. I put together groups of 3. So anyway, that once you reply to the email super quick, I will send you another email and basically give you the names of the people that are in your triads, and you will have, I will email it to everyone. And from there, you guys are on your own to set things up. I want to make sure also to let you know, in the past, there have sometimes been triads that didn't work because one person realized that they couldn't do it, or there were whatever came up. I want you to make sure to let me know if that happens, because I want to make sure that maybe I have somebody else. I'm not going to put myself into a triad until things get going. And what happened, I think, all 3 other times is I ended up joining a triad because there was somebody that needed to drop out. Or sometimes I put groups of 2 and 2 together into 4. But please, please, please make sure that you reach out to me if there's any issue. We don't have any change, I don't think, in time zone issues, but that's something that came up before also, that I didn't realize that somebody was wintering somewhere else and then they were off on time zones. It might have been California, and that poor triad had a hard time finding their time. So just let me know. All right, let's do the magic of sharing the screen. And if somebody can give me a wave to let me know that you can see that. Of course, I have to be able to see you. All right, can you see that screen? Yes, okay. Oops, I don't know what just happened, so let me share that again. Obviously, I hit something. All righty. Okay, perfect. I'm going to run through the slides fairly quickly because you are all experienced coaches. So welcome to the 4th annual Coaching Triads. And like I said, I'm going to share a structure that I have used before, talk about the roles of each member, and just briefly the benefits. One of our members who isn't active anymore, Anne Canfield, came up to me at an event somewhere and said, I need some coaching hours. Does the chapter ever do anything? That's how things get going at ICF Connecticut. And I said, yep, we're going to do it. So generally, this, besides that it's fun, you can use the hours for accreditation. It's fun to try out new questions and techniques, get honest feedback. It's a great practice for new coaches. I know that I was in several rounds of coaching triads through my organization where I trained. And it's a good way to meet people, too, that are in the community. So there are lots of reasons, of course, to join. Like I said, I am going to assign the triads. I am going to send you a feedback form and 2 articles that may have already gone out to you that might help you. One is an article around coaching feedback, and another one is, let me just look at it. Anyway, there are 2 articles. Sorry about that. In the past, I had sent an email out every couple weeks with a suggested coaching question. I may still do that. I may send an email out just to ask if there are any questions going on, or like I said, if there's some glitch in your triad, just to let you know. And also, obviously, there's confidentiality of all conversations in your triad. So this is a suggested This is a suggested structure. I'll be putting together 3 members, and the suggestion is over 4-month period to meet 8 times. You will be using your own Zoom link. So someone in the triad, once you get your email, you can decide whose Zoom link you want to use. It doesn't make sense to have a Zoom link through ICF Connecticut, so this is the easiest way. The suggestion was to meet up twice a month for the 4 months. When I did Coaching Triad, we did 90-minute sessions, which gave a 20-20-20 and then time to debrief. So you have flexibility on the day, the time, and how often to meet. So that's just my suggestion. As far as the triad, you've probably all been in a coaching triad. I would suggest have one triad member, just manage the Zoom and the reminders. If you want to, you can have a point person that can get back to me to let me know how the triad is going. It's up to you if you want to switch out those assignments. And, I suggest committing to 8 meetings, but like I said, that's totally up to you. And as far as recording your coaching times, because you probably already know this, but because you are giving and receiving coaching, the coaching that you are giving is considered paid coaching hours, because what you're receiving in return is also coaching from someone else. So if you're using the time to get to your 100 or 500 hours, these are not pro bono hours, which is a great thing and a real bonus. So let's keep going. So roles and responsibilities. Obviously, you're going to all be providing a safe space for you and your cohort to learn and improve. The roles would be a coach, a coachee, and an observer. If you are the coach in your triad, you're doing a 20 or a 30-minute coaching session, you may want to tell your observer, oh, I'd like you to look out for this. You don't have to. And this is something that came up before for accreditation. If you want to record these 20 minutes coaching sessions for something, you just have to get permission from everybody in your triad. So you're the coachee, you're receiving coaching, which I love. Bringing a real issue to a session, being vulnerable and honest, and giving honest feedback to your coach. The observer is probably, I think, sometimes the hardest role in a coaching triad. So that's why I have these 2 articles that I'm going to send to you. To me, the role of the observer is not to critique, not to point out what went wrong, but really just notice, we all love, how often do we get to watch somebody coach? I mean, I don't hardly anymore. I love to just watch how the coach is moving through the session. As an observer, if the coach wants me to look for something in a session, that's great. As the observer, when we're debriefing, what I usually do is basically ask the coach their impressions of the sessions. Basically, I'm going to ask what went well, what did you love about this coaching session, and ask the coachee also their impressions of the session. What did you love about this coaching session? And keeping it in that positive light. I love to give the client time to acknowledge their coach and the coaching experience. The observer, we all know that acknowledging is part of our competencies. The observer can also acknowledge the coach and the coaching session, and maybe ask the coach and the client, their learnings and takeaways. So that's a lot of stuff, right? Especially if you're leaving 5 to 10 minutes in between sessions. Obviously, pick and choose what works for you and your group. So basically, the what's next, you're going to receive an email from me with those 3 questions, and I'm going to use that to create the coaching triads. If I'll probably send that out tomorrow. So if you could just reply to me, super easy, quick, and then I will send you an email by the 10th. So in a few days, and it'll have your, like I said, your triad members, your suggested structure article, and the coaching feedback model article. So I have done a lot of talking. I am going to stop sharing. Try to get back in my Zoom room. Oops. So does anyone have any questions about that? Or even any other ideas or suggestions if you've already done some coaching triads? Hello, Johanna. Yes. And by the way, this is being recorded, so anything that you missed, you'll be able to get. If anyone has a different structure that they love and you want to share about it, this is a good time to do it. But I'm just going to open this up for questions, and let me know what you're thinking. How does that sound?
Yeah, I just thank you for putting it together. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm I'm on the newer side. I went through the education with CTI 2 years ago, and I'm just now really getting around to focusing on getting my 100 hours. So I'm really early in the process.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me that I think I'm going to add the question, like where did you get your coach specific training? Because, well, let me ask you. I would think it would be really fun to have 3 people who did their training in different places rather than the same school. So just in case I have like, oh my gosh, 6 of you are CTI, I'll try to mix it up. So I thank you for reminding me about that, but I will put that question in there too. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, yeah.
Naomi, I
Um,
have a quick question. Um,
mhm.
in my training school, we had triads, and we were instructed to really kind of stick to the ICF markers for marker training coaching. But my sense from that I'm getting tonight that it's a little bit more, what you're asking from us is we could be a little bit more free flowing. Okay, so we don't need to be like, oh, you didn't hit marker 7.5. Okay.
Yep.
Unless your triad wants to do that. So let's say there are 3 of you that are preparing to send a recording in. You may decide like, hey, let's focus on the competencies, the markers actually. But otherwise, it's totally up to you.
Okay.
The only thing that I suggest, well, is talking to your triad about feedback around what did not happen. Personally, I feel like if I'm the coach, I can ask my triad, like, so did you guys see, like, or was there something? But unsolicited is sometimes just doesn't feel good, right? So if somebody starts to tell me all the things that I didn't do, which is not typical, that's not what we do anyway. But I just mention it in case, there are programs people have shared with me where there was a big emphasis on what was missing, to get people ready. And so
Yeah.
that came into a triad. And I would just say, just ask permission around that. And, like, you can make up your own ground rules.
Okay.
Generally, people just were like, this is so great. I love doing it. I love watching. I mean, how fun is it to like watch somebody else coach? I am writing down like the most amazing things and questions that people ask where I go like, wow. That was so cool. But there's no reason that you can't focus on the markers if you want to. That's a very long
Okay.
answer.
Okay. Thanks.
And then just a quick question that I had was also in relation to, testing out specific tools or new tools that we may want to be bringing into our own businesses. Would that be something that is applicable and relevant for the triads?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is such a great place to test things out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking, has anybody in this group been trained or in positive intelligence and mental fitness? Are any of
Yes.
you mental fitness coaches? So,
Yeah,
No.
I'm a
that,
PQ coach.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
PQ
not a
coach.
PQ coach, but I did do the training.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was in cohort 3. That's how long ago it was. And I've really sort of gotten away from it because it's not like what I typically do, but there was one triad where I kind of wanted to try out the 7-step PQ model. So it's a great place to do it, right?
Mhm.
Because it was, and it really helped me out because I had some clients that went through PQ with me. I took them through the program and then I did the coaching and I thought, you know what, this makes sense for me to use that model because typically I don't. So anyway, that's another long answer. Like, yes, this is the perfect place to do it.
Okay.
I would be interested in learning more about that because like I said, I went through the program. A friend of mine is building his business as a PQ certified coach and building using their model. So I'd be interested in learning more.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is definitely different. That's a whole other conversation. No, I love it. I really love it, but it's yeah, it's a lot.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, oh wow, I really talked fast, but if you don't have any other questions, yeah, I think I'll get started on putting cohorts together. And thank you so much for coming. Let me stop the recording.